There are a huge number of options you can set in Microsoft Outlook. And we won't have time in this training material to go through the painstaking detail of every single one. But let's do a brief overview of the options so you'll know where to go looking for things you might want to change. In the Tools menu, choose Options. You'll start in the Preferences tab, where you can find buttons to change the options and set some preferences for the different items available in Outlook. For example, in Email Options, you can set whether or not copies are automatically saved in the Sent Items folder. Or, after you move or delete an open item, do you return to the inbox or do something else like open the next or the previous item? There's options you can set and preferences for calendar items, tasks, contacts and notes, and searching. You can also configure some settings for mobile devices if you connect to those through Outlook. Let's go to the Mail Setup tab. Email Accounts takes you to the Account Settings dialog box. We were in here before, and you can get to it directly from the Tools menu by choosing Account Settings. This is where we added another email account. And as you'll notice, there's other tabs here we have available, such as data files and RSS feeds. You can change the send-receive settings. By default, Outlook will send messages immediately as soon as you click send if you're connected. You can change that by unclicking it. Clicking on send receive will allow you to further configure what happens when you send and receive, which accounts get sent and received if you want it to be different, and also the automatic scheduling. So by default, Outlook will check for new messages and do a send and receive every 30 minutes. You can turn that functionality off so it only does it when you choose or press send and receive in the toolbar. Or you can change the time in which it automatically does it. You can change the data files, and this takes us to the account settings again, just to the data files tab. And here you can do things such as choose personal folders, click settings, and you can configure where these folders are saved. It's also a good way to locate a file if you're looking to back up a file. You can change the password on it if you like, and you can compact a file to go through and make it smaller. It's a good idea to do that from time to time. You can configure your dial-up settings if you're configured to the internet on a dial-up connection. The Mail Format tab allows us access to a couple of things we've used before, such as stationery and fonts or signatures dialogues. But you can also go into the editing options here for the email editor itself. You can also configure some other things, like what message format you send email in by default. The Spelling tab has something I always like to turn on. I like to always check spelling before sending an email message. This is not turned on by default, so you may want to enable this, if you make as many spelling mistakes as I do at least. There's further settings you can set for spelling and autocorrection. In the Other tab, there's a few other things you might want to modify. For example, under the General section, we have Empty Deleted Items folder upon exiting. This is a good way to help keep that deleted items folder empty. You can also change the defaults and make Outlook the default program for email and things like that. Another valuable one is Auto Archive. Auto Archive is enabled or turned on by default in Outlook 2007, and every 14 days it will automatically go through your list of items, looking for things that are older than 6 months, and archive them or move them into an archived items folder. It puts them in a separate file so that they're not mixed in with your regular personal folders, and it helps keeps the size of your inbox down. You can change these settings and then click Apply these settings to all folders. You have the ability to set different archive settings on each folder if you'd like, but usually it makes sense to set the same ones on all the folders. If your network administrator has a retention policy, and this will usually be the case if you're connected to an Exchange server, you'll see that here, and you'll be able to get more information by clicking this button. There's a couple of other options you can set here for the different panes, the navigation pane, for example, what shows up in it, or the to-do bar in Outlook. But otherwise, we've been through all of the different options, at least from a high level. Usually the best way, however, to figure out where you need to go to change an option or change the behavior in Outlook is simply to use the help. Search through the help, and it will usually end up referring you back to the options dialog box to make the changes you need.